Hey everyone, Michael Dudley with In Good and Health. I have an awesome patient success story to share with you today between our Care Navigator, Shannon, and her patient, Jane Doe. Now, oftentimes the centers and practices we work with have phenomenal resources and programs available to the patients. But either the patients don't know that they exist or they need someone to help connect the dots. And that's exactly where Care Navigator can fit in and really be the quarterback for that patient's care. Now, as a background on In Good and Health, we are hired by a primary care practice to be able to reach out to their patients every single month through education, coaching, and accountability. Help these patients make lifestyle changes, ones that keep them out of the hospital. It's completely paid for by Medicare and other programs. Now, Shannon has been working with Jane for the last couple months, and unfortunately in March, Jane was going through some financial troubles. She was struggling to pay her food, utilities, rent, and even her phone. She tried to find financial assistance, but was unsuccessful, and on this call, Jane was in tears, not knowing she would lose her home. So Shannon, being as resourceful as she usually is, knew that the practice had a rent and utility assistance program. So she put in a task in the EMR for the social worker to come out and meet with Jane. Now, Shannon didn't want to stop there. She continued to ask questions, and she found out that Jane might have an opportunity to have a government-issued phone, but you have to fill out an application online. Now, for you and I, filling out an application online may not be a daunting task, but for many of our Medicare-age patients, like Jane, she was not familiar with the internet and saw this as a very daunting task. So Shannon got online and literally walked her through the application process. She found out that Jane was eligible, but it would have to get processed. So Jane was very appreciative at the end of the call and that she had an appointment with a social worker and potentially a phone on the way. So when Shannon calls Jane in April, Jane was so ecstatic. She received her new phone, and the social worker came from the clinic and assisted her with filling out that application to help out with her rent and utilities. I want to actually read this quote for you verbatim from Shannon. The patient was overjoyed during the call and stated that she felt like she finally could see a light at the end of the tunnel. She thanked me multiple times for going above and beyond. To us, filling out a simple application is not a daunting task, but for many of our patients, it is. And it creates nothing but added stress and worry on top of what they already have going on. You know, in our economy, the way it is now and the cost of living rising every day, it felt good knowing that the patient didn't have to worry about where they were going to lay their head at night, whether they were going to have electricity and water the next month, or a phone that they could no longer afford. So this is something simple, right? Just filling out an application for a patient online. But when someone's stressed about their finances, you know what they're not doing? They're not exercising. They're not eating healthy. They're grabbing McDonald's or whatever is convenient. They might not also be checking their blood pressure or their blood sugar, etc. So these are ways where one step and taking one thing off their plate is huge in helping these patients make these lifestyle changes. So a lot of the practices we work with, they would love to be able to do this. They'd love to fill out applications online for patients, but oftentimes they just don't have the bandwidth, and that's completely normal. And in most cases, the clinical care really only accounts for 20% of a patient's health. And that's where a Care Navigator can step in. That's where our Care Navigators are so focused on social economic issues and ways to be able to help these patients find a means to an end and really be able to focus on their health. So if you would like us to be able to repeat this same success with your practice, you know how to reach me. My information's below, or you can send me a direct message. But thank you so much for your time. I hope you have a wonderful day.